Now, before I start, I want to recognize a certain person in the congregation who does much good work, brings much life and light to the congregation, and she's very quiet as a rule. And she's very embarrassed. This is not to embarrass Marty, but to say, Marty, in a couple of weeks you won't be here. And at the sub-district meeting we'll be celebrating our quiet disciples. And you will be one of them, and I assume you're leaving next week for your journey, so you wouldn't be here next week, and you thought you were just going to slide right by. So, on behalf of the congregation, and I got to work with, I had no clue when we were sitting down doing this, I got to work with 5 delightful, loving, caring human beings who were part of this congregation who said, Marty would be one of our quiet disciples. And so, Marty, on behalf of the congregation, thank you for all you do. And we have another quiet disciple, but I'm not sure if they're present.
He's with Jacob.
He's with Jacob?
Yeah, he's with Jacob for the other youth.
Oh, for the other youth group. Okay. Well, can I go ahead and say? Or should I wait till he shows up in congregation?
I don't know. We're not at Jacob's class.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do that. All right. So, our other quiet disciple is the youth disciple. Quiet disciple, and that's Xander. And again, there was a delightful discussions about who we should pick. And somebody said, yeah, but he already works at the church. And it's like,
He goes above and beyond.
You know what? That was the whole conversation was, he's one of those people who brings light to our lives, whether it's officially or unofficially.
Yeah.
And for all the work he does, when you see Xander, make sure you say, yay. Don't be, yeah. And the fun of this is we've known for a month, and I've had some time just to observe. And I was in a meeting with Marty the other day, an hour and a half meeting. She didn't say anything until the end when I finally said, I'm going to talk about somebody, and she realized it was her. It was like, no. And Xander's much the same way. What a delight, what a gift. And so thank you both very, very much. And that also is a way of introducing a text today. We've been studying the Beatitudes, and now we're going to read what happens right after the Beatitudes. But again, blessed, I leave that text up there, but just a reminder, blessed are happy or joyful or filled with the fullness of God's love. There are lots of ways to deal with the word blessed. Are those who, and many of those are so appropriate today. Blessed are those whose hearts break, for they shall be called God's children. Blessed are those who grieve. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the humble, the gentle, those who show mercy, have pure hearts, those who make peace, and those who suffer for doing the right thing. And after saying all this, Jesus looks at the disciples and at the crowd perhaps as well, and he said, you are salty. And we need more salty Christians. Because imagine today if we had a little later in the day corned beef and cabbage with no salt. Imagine you're having a rough time this week and you need a little chicken soup without salt, without seasoning. Imagine you want to celebrate St. Patrick's Day today and you go, let's have a little green Kool-Aid. Or maybe green something else. Margarita? No salt. No seasoning. No nothing. No good. That's exactly what Jesus is saying. You are what?
No good.
No good. No, that's not what he's saying. We got to work on this response bit just a little bit here. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, how will it become salty again? Now he's just raising the question of what good is salt if it isn't salty? It's good for nothing except to be thrown away and trampled under the feet. And you are the light of the world. And a city on top of a hill can't be hidden. And neither do people put a light under a lamp neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Instead, they put it on top of the lampstand. And it shines on all in the house. As we heard so lovingly just a bit ago, when the lights go out and you don't know when they're going to come back on, we do appreciate it when that light comes back on, don't we? And some of you slept with a nightlight until you were at least 94. We like those lights, don't we? You are the light of the world. And when he says, you don't hide light, you put it so it can illuminate the room or the city. And in the same way, let your light shine before people so that they can see the good things you do. And praise your Father who is in heaven. So let your light shine. Your light. Let your light shine that people will see the good that you do and will thank God in heaven. The church gets it so wrong so often, and this is one of those places because we try to make sure that people believe the right things, say the right things during the Lord's Prayer. You know, the church has killed people for saying the Lord's Prayer the wrong way, for serving communion the wrong way, for understanding certain parts of salvation the wrong way. Why? We have brutalized others. We've called each other names. We've said all kinds of things, and it doesn't look like light to me. It looks a whole lot like not paying attention. Attention deficit disorder church. Busy doing something, but not letting its light shine. Making sure that they don't get in. And think about the history of who they are.
They're sinners,
They're sinners?
just like me.
Just like you? Oh, I hope they're better. I meant better at sinning. No, Dale, I could do that with you. But you know, I should stop right there because y'all will remember the point, won't you? Yes. And that's the point. Let your light shine, which is exactly what you were doing. So let your light shine that others will see the good that you do and they will have a good laugh. That's not exactly how Jesus said it. So they aren't just sinners. They're children of God. Precious, beloved children of God who've messed up in ways that we can't imagine sometimes, but they're still God's children. And we kept them out because in my brief ministry, the number of people that have been excluded are many. The number of people who weren't welcome are many. And yet I've been in places where the barriers came down. And this person, and then that person, and then this person, and that person. And the church is all the better for it because the light shines. When the doors are open, and the love of God is not just simply hunkering down right here. One of the reasons I tell you to get out of here is if you're all in here shining on each other, it looks good. But so let your light shine that others will see the good that you do and will give thanks to their Father in heaven. And you know what? Some of you are going, well, I don't have a whole lot of light to shine. It's okay. In a dark room, the dimmest bulb still shines. Need I say more? In a dark room, the dimmest bulb of all will still shine and still will provide that little bit of hope. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, it's only at night in the darkness that we can see stars. What a great image, reminding the church that we are best when we let our light shine when it's hurting, when it's fearful, when it's angry. Not the church, but the world or the circumstances. When our hearts are breaking into 1,000 little pieces, but as I invited you last week, we let our hearts break, not just to break, but so we can give them away in love to others. Light provides beauty. And just like we don't want to have saltless corned beef and cabbage,
Salt provides flavor.
salt provides flavor. Aha!
We're the flavor.
We're the flavor. Salty Christians flavoring the world. But you're getting it. And we're light. We don't have to be airport landing lights. We just have to be light that God has given us. And sometimes that light shows up in different ways. And one of the ways we do it here, I want you to look at each other and do what? Smile. Look at each other and smile and let the love of God radiate back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't get it, we giggle.
You giggle?
Yeah, we can't even smile, we
I-
have to giggle.
You have to, oh, you can't, yeah, it's okay to giggle. Yeah. All right? So let your light shine. Now, I have lots of images I like to share, but I want you to hear this one today because there's this grocery store to the west that I love to visit and haven't been there in several years because I no longer am close to it for a variety of reasons, but it's a store that has several persons with, we would say, handicapping circumstances who work in the store and serve in different places. And I always love going into it because not only does it have that, but it has this great variety of people of all kinds of colors and all kinds of backgrounds. And sometimes you don't have to shop, you can just wander and look. It's like, wow, what an amazing variety of people God has created. And this one evening, I was actually shopping, and I got into an aisle, and there were about 6 or 7 people, and they all had this funny little look on their face. It was a bit of a smile, you know, kind of like, and then when they look at me, they would kind of sober up. And so I was pondering what was happening, and when I got to the next aisle, I noticed this older gentleman he had his back to me, and he was going through the aisle, and as he was going through, he was barely taller than the cart, and wavy white hair. And as he was going, I noticed that people would suddenly start to smile. And I was intrigued. You know, I was like, does he have a t-shirt on that says smile? So I managed to, for a variety of reasons, end up going the opposite direction on the next aisle. And as I watched this little man bald hair right to here, but this long, beautiful, wavy white hair beside him. And he had this smile that went from here to here, and he looked at everybody and just sort of said, hello. And their immediate response was, hi. Hello. The source of all, and I went, here's somebody who is working his way through a grocery store making sure that everybody's going to smile before they leave. So let your light shine. So this week, I'm going to invite you to go out into the world and do something. And some of you are going to Nebraska. And I'm not sure you want to go, smile, it could be worse. That may not be helpful. But let your light shine this week in places that are hurting, in places that are fearful, and in situations where people are uncertain and afraid. And let your light shine and bring that light and love in Jesus' name to the world in ways that help. And I look at Dale and Linda and I smile and I go, see, you do that by feeding and by caring and by loving and by joining. And I just love it. And the faces in front of me right now are smiling. It's like, go out and make this world a more holy place. In Jesus' name, amen and amen.